Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a privilege to be here with my fellow penguins. So let me start my speech. I believe in God, but I don't believe in God. Perhaps this is contradiction. That is to say, in the realm of science, I am an atheist because I am convinced of the philosophical disproof towards the existence of God. However, as far as I am concerned, I am a theist because I happen to be born into a religious family. In that capacity, I am a follower of religion personally and will often visit and volunteer at temple every Saturday on top of a mountain when I lived in Taiwan. I also used to be a vegetarian and still cannot eat beef and mutton by virtue of religious teachings. That being said, I do not think God exists when it comes to science or philosophy in particular. For instance, my honorable friend once insisted in front of me that God must exist because the formation of this universe requires its creator. In other words, there is an established understanding that nothing existed before the Big Bang. Such absolute nothingness with no property is not capable of producing anything. To illustrate, the combination of carbon and oxygen yields carbon dioxide. By contrast, in the complete absence of carbon and oxygen, such product as carbon dioxide will never exist and nothing will have been left. Thus, as long as we know something exists in this universe, like yourselves, we need the creator who created us from nothing, which theists entitled God. In simple terms, God provided materials or its causality for the science to happen. In fact, Plato wrote, "Everything that becomes or changes must do so owing to some cause, for nothing can come to be without a cause." And in response to the gentleman who approached me, I said, "Who's the creator of the creator then?" And the debate ended with silence. I was even prepared to ask, "Who's the creator of the creator of the creator then?" when such creator was answered. Well, I do not dislike infinity, and today I'm still proud to be scientific atheist, or atheistic scientist, whatever you may call it. That being said, the contradiction of my theological identities made me uncomfortable. I believe such discomfort is owing to my schooling, which taught me that contradiction is rational. And yes, I was ashamed of my dual theological identities. And in order to clarify the supposed irrationality, as an elementary school pupil back in the day, I tried to become an atheist for 1 week and a theist for another. In the atheistic week, I was desperate to convince myself that I had been deceived by my family for my whole life about the truth of religion. I thought life is simulation, as if a Truman Show, and I was just unlucky to be chosen as a subject of such simulation. And everyone around me, including my family members, are just disguised actors who kept lying to me that religion exists. Beyond this invisible wall, the observers in the remainder of the world must be laughing at me about my stupidity. In the theistic week, I try to appreciate God for 3 meals I can eat, the world I can see, and the air that I breathe. Of course, neither of those ambitious attempts worked. But during these seemingly wasted 2 weeks, I attained enlightenment, which is, there is no point whatsoever in clarifying my identity. I chose to be ignorant. Although the negative connotations of ignorance exist, such as negligence, irresponsibility, and stupidity, ignorance, by my definition, means relinquishment of clarification or acceptance. In other words, there are two types of ignorant people. They are either empty-minded people who do not exert effort to know from the very beginning, or incredibly sophisticated people who at the end relinquish such ambitious dreams as to know everything. And ignorance, in this context, falls into the latter category. In fact, Nicholas of Cusa, a German philosopher from 15th century, wrote that finite human intellect will never know the entirety of infinite divinity of God. In the process, nevertheless, we will become aware of the limitations of our intellect and thereby attain learned ignorance, deducta ignorantia. Thus, ignorance can be such a magical spell when used correctly. I wholeheartedly believe ignorance can be such a magical solution to universal divisions. As far as I am concerned, I am a lover of history because I'm fed up with the present and instead cherish the past. And in history, countless wars happened and are happening in an attempt to clarify religious contradictions. For instance, Jerusalem is regarded as the homeland of several religions. As a result, the Crusade War happened in 1095. In the First Crusade, the European formed the united troops to retrieve the sacred land of Jerusalem from the hands of Muslims. Those European crusaders slaughtered hundreds of men, women, and children. In the Second Crusade, the Muslim Turks annihilated the city occupied by European crusaders during the First Crusade. And the back and forth followed until, let me finish the sentence, Eighth Crusade. And the painted imagery of the wounded warriors lying on the ground left me with the feeling of sorrow. The bloody war lasted for 200 years, and I am still not sure whether such contradiction is resolved today. In that sense, do you not think clarifications causes divisions? By God, let us all remind ourselves that ignorance may be a path to universal coexistence and peace. I believe from the bottom of my heart that all religions are based on mercy, affection, and words of wisdom, and certainly not violence. Why can we not just appreciate the diversity of religions? Do we always have to give a single answer? Let it be. This is the name of my favorite song. That's the very end of it, and thank you very much indeed for your patience.